Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast French Class Teacher. If you want to improve your French step by step and understand grammar more clearly, you are in the right place. Today, we are going to talk about a very small part of French grammar, but a part that is extremely important. We are going to learn how to use contracted articles in French. More specifically, we will look at four very common forms. O, write an A, U. O, write an A, U, X for plural. Du, DU, and des, DES. If you are learning French, you have probably already seen these words many times. Maybe you have read sentences like Je vais au marché. Il parle des livres. But you might be wondering, why do we say O instead of A plus le? Why do we say du instead of de plus le? That is exactly what we will explain today. And the good news is that once you understand the rule, it becomes very easy. Also, for each of my podcasts, I provide a summary sheet and exercises. You can download it from my website, FrenchClassTeacher.com, library of exercises, by clicking on the corresponding podcast. And this is the podcast number 48. First, what is a contraction? A contraction happens when two words combine to form a shorter word. In French, this happens very often when a preposition meets an article. The two most important prepositions of this rule are a with an accent and de. Let's quickly review their meanings. The preposition a can mean to, at, or sometimes in. For example, je vais à Paris. I go to Paris. And the preposition de can mean of, from, or about. For example, je parle de ce livre. I talk about this book. Now here is the important part. When a with the accent or de comes before certain indefinite articles, the two words must contract, and this contraction is obligatory in French. You cannot say the long form. So let's start with the contractions with a accent. The definite articles in French are le for masculine singular noun, la for feminine singular noun, les for plural noun, and l apostrophe before a vowel noun. Now let's see what happens when a meets these articles, a with accent. So a plus le become o. Example, je vais à le restaurant is not correct. You have to say je vais au restaurant. I go to the restaurant. Another example, il est au bureau. Don't say il est à le bureau. He is at the office. Also, a plus les become o, a-u-x, because of the plural noun. Example, nous allons à les toilettes is not correct. Instead, say nous allons aux toilettes, and you have the contraction of a plus les, which becomes o. Nous allons aux toilettes. We go to the toilets. Another example, elle parle aux étudiants. She speaks to the students. So again, you cannot say a plus les. You must say o, a-u-x. Now here is something important. A with accent does not contract with la. La is the article corresponding to a feminine noun. Or L apostrophe is an article for feminine noun starting with a vowel. Examples. Je suis à la plage. Plage is feminine, so you keep la. I am at the beach. Example, nous allons à l'école. École is feminine and start with a vowel, I, so you keep the L apostrophe. We go to school. Nous allons à l'école. So remember, A plus le become O. A plus les become O with the nix. But A plus la remain à la for feminine noun, or A plus L apostrophe for feminine noun starting with a vowel, and no contraction in these cases. Now let's have a look at the contraction with de. The same logic applies with the preposition de. De plus le become du. Example, je viens du marché. You can say je viens de le marché. I come from the market. Another example, c'est le chien du voisin. It is the neighbor's dog. Again, you cannot say de plus le. You must say du. De plus les become des. Example, nous parlons des films français. Don't say nous parlons de les films français. We talk about French movies. Another example for that, ils viennent des États-Unis. They come from the United States. Just like before, de does not contract with la or l apostrophe for feminine noun. Examples, je parle de la musique, because music is feminine. I talk about music. Il vient de l'école. École is feminine, so you have to say il vient de l'école. It comes from school. So the rule is de plus le becomes du, de plus les becomes des. But de plus la remain de la for feminine noun. Same for de plus l apostrophe. It remains de plus l apostrophe. These contractions are not optional in French. In English, sometimes contractions are optional, but in French grammar, these ones are mandatory. So remember, you must say au, not à le. You must say du, not de le. If you remember this rule, your French will sound much more natural. So a quick recap. Let's summarize everything we learned today. With a preposition, a plus les is au. If plural, a plus les becomes au, aux, and no contraction with la or l apostrophe. You keep them. With de plus le becomes du, de plus les becomes des. No contraction with la or l apostrophe. You keep de la or de l apostrophe. And that's it for today episode. These small grammar details can make a big difference in your French, so try to notice them when you read or listen to French. And of course, the best way to remember them is to practice by making your own sentences. You can also practice with the summary sheets available in the website, in my website. So if you enjoy learning French with this podcast and you want to progress faster, you can also work with me directly. I help students become confident French speakers with clear explanations, practical exercises, and real conversation practice. So if you are serious about improving your French, feel free to contact me for lessons. I would be happy to help you reach the next level. See you in the next episode, and as always, keep practicing your French every day. Bye bye, à bientôt!